Hey guys, it's Blue Eyes Master 91, and I thought I would do a quick couple of test hands for the slifer exodia deck I gave a profile for. So with this deck, you want to go second. That's for any exodia deck, you want to go second because you want that first turn draw, which that's actually not a bad first turn draw. So with this, you would set two cards, some of the Marsh Macaron in defense, and you would pass the turn. On your opponent's draw phase, you would activate Legacy to draw a card. Your opponent would attack into Marsh Macaron. So then Marsh Macaron's effect would go off. Your opponent could ash this, but I doubt it. They're not going to see any problem with you summoning it. They're not going to realize what you're playing, most likely. If they do ash that play, that can hurt. But they're going to wait and hold on to that ash 9 times out of 10. Because they're not going to want to waste it on Marsh Macaron. Unless they figure out what you're running immediately. So you would summon out the two Marsh Macarons. You could do one at a time. It doesn't really matter. Personally, I don't mind using summoning out both. More defense, because you can only use the effect once a turn. So, more than likely, it's like another copy would die. And that would be the end of their turn. You would draw into your alpha. These are all just random cards I'm drawing. I am not stacking the deck in any way. So, alpha's effect, special summon. You can set Cemetery Bomb if you want. Doesn't really matter. We can't really use his effect, but we can attack with him to deal damage and pass the turn. More than likely what would happen is they would attack into the Marsh Macaron, and they could call by the grave the effect, but I don't see it happening unless, again, they figure out what you're running. So, those two would come back out, and they would end their turn, more than likely. And we draw into Slifer. Not ideal, but useful. We can then use a copy of Marsh Macaron to link off into Link Karibo. And this is useful because it can trigger the Marsh Macaron effect. But now you have a 3-way recursion going on. Or a 2-way recursion. Because Link Karibo can resummon himself. So I would attack with Alpha and pass the turn. It'd be the opponent's turn. They would attempt to go into Marsh Macaron. We could use Link Karibo to make their attack 0 out. They'd be able to redeclare. They could attack into the Marsh Macaron with a different monster, triggering its effect to resummon 2 more once again. And then the second effect of Link Karibo would go off. Allowing you to kill off one of the Marsh Macarons for Link Karibo. And that would end their turn. So it'd be your draw. Marshmallow. We can set that right face down. And we would end up passing the turn. Let's see. The opponent would attack into Marshmallow. They would take 1,000 points of damage for flipping it up. And it can't be destroyed in battle. They would then probably attack into the Marsh Macaron, in which we can use Link Karibo. And then Link Karibo's effect, the secondary effect, would activate. We can tribute off the 1 copy of Marsh Macaron. Its effect then activates, summoning out 2 more copies. At this point, they might call by the grave the Marsh Macaron because they would likely get annoyed at just how easy it is to recur. But they would end their turn, you would draw. You would attack with Alpha and pass the turn. They would attack into Link Kuribo, and you can use his effect, destroying himself. To make them attack 0, and then they can attack into the Marsh Macaron. Its effect would trigger, but they would call by the Grave It. So that happens. So without that recursion, Marsh Macaron loses a lot of love. But let's pretend they don't use Call by the Grave. So you'd get another copy out. And that would end the turn. You would draw. You can set what you draw face down and pass the turn. They'd attack into a Marsh Macaron, most likely, triggering the effect, summoning it out. And then they can attack into the face down, Nimble Momonga. You gain 1,000 life points, and then you get another search. At this point in time, they might figure out that you're running Exodia. So just keep that in mind. This is a very, very slow deck, but once it gets going, it's a lot of fun. So, yeah. In a perfect world, they'd attack into the other Nimble Momonga, but they likely wouldn't because they'd want to reevaluate their strategy. So it'd be your turn, you would draw. Cyberjar. A very, very good pull. You can attack with Alpha, and then you could go into Zero Boros if you really, really wanted to. It really wouldn't matter. You can if you want to limit your opponent more, irritate them more. It really doesn't matter. Be funny. But that would end my turn with the attack. So it'd be their turn. They would likely attack into the Marsh Macaron. Once again, triggering the effect. They could attack into the face down, the Nimble Momonga. We'd gain another grand. And then we can set another copy. So at this point in time, we have a couple of options here. It'd be our draw. Copy a Morphing Jar. So at this point in time, we have a couple of options. We could go into Zero Boros. We could summon Slifer. Or we can attack and end the turn. Personally, I would triple sacrifice to go into Slifer. It's got 6,000 attack, and it can kill anything that it deals damage to your opponent's monsters. Each monster they summon lose 2,000 attack. If the attacks drop to 0, the monster is destroyed. So it'd be our opponent's turn. They'd kill off our Nimble Momonga for the last 1,000 points we'll gain. And they would be weary about attacking into the Marsh Macaron at this point. So it'd be our draw. That's important to have. So what I would do is I would set the Cyberjar and then the 2 spells. Lowering Slifer's attack to 4,000. Still more than enough to deal damage. We would attack. They likely would have swapped everything into defense. It'd be their turn. They attack into the Cyberjar, destroying everything on the field. And I believe Slifer would go as well. I'm not 100% sure about that. Or I'm going to play it out as if Slifer would be destroyed as well. So we reveal the top 5 cards of our deck. So we add 3 cards back. We can set the Witch and the Angel. And that would end our move. Or that would end the opponent's turn because they likely didn't draw anything that they could attack over with. And they don't want to risk attacking into a Witch or giving us an additional draw. So it would be our turn, we would draw. Now we have a couple of options. First of all, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. We send 6 cards from the extra deck to Banish to draw 2 with Pot of Extravagance. Not a bad draw. Now we have a couple of frustrations. I would activate Gravekeeper Servant. And then I would play Big Eye face down. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. We are at the card limit. So I would send Karibo to the graveyard and pass the turn. The opponent would probably attack into Big Eye, letting us look at the top 5 cards of our deck and rearrange them into any order we want. So I would do those, and that would be that. They know what we have face down, so they are unlikely to attack into either. So it would be our draw. We could play Cemetery Bomb at this moment. It wouldn't be very powerful, but it would still deal damage. So then, how do I want to do this? We could also activate Revived Sky God, allowing us to each draw till we're holding 6. That wouldn't be something that was easy for us to do because we already are over the cannon limit. We can flip the Skull Angel ourselves to draw a card, which we cannot use this turn because it says at the start. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Slifer is currently sitting at 8,000 attack points. We would swing in with Slifer to deal as much damage as possible. Main phase 2. Oh, excuse me. I would set the Morphing Jar face down, and then these 2 face down. Now I'm doing that because Morphing Jar is going to force us to discard our hand. So at this point in time, it's the end phase. Slifer goes away. It is our opponent's turn. They would attack and kill our angel. Not a big deal. Now the question would be, would they attack into the face down that they don't know? More than likely they would, and they'd be okay with it, because they would think, okay, he's trying to get to something. And then they would see 3 pieces of Exodia going to the graveyard. So they'd be excited. So, again, the deck is really, really slow. It can't be helped with how Exodias are generally run. It's faster than it used to be, I will say. So our opponent would likely end their turn at this point in time, not wanting to have us use the Witch. So we would draw Electromagnetic Turtle. We can activate Dark Factory at Mass Production at this moment in time to add back 2 pieces of Exodia. Next, we can activate Pot of Avarice. which allows us to add back 5 cards. So, the monsters I would add back are Cyberjar, a copy of Marshmacaron, the Big Eye, Skull Angel, and of course our head of Exodia. So those 5 cards get shuffled back into the deck. Not bad. Okay. Now we draw 2 cards, which are more production and drop off. I would set the electromagnetic turtle, our copy of drop off, and more production. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. We are at the hand limit. And the card I would choose to send to the grave is Obliterate, giving us 6 cards in our hand. Now, at this point in time, they know what we're going for. They know we're trying to assemble Exodia. So they're going to leave Witch alone. So they would attack into our other face down electromagnetic turtle. And that would be their turn. I would draw into the only copy of Marshmacaron still in my deck. I would flip over more production, followed by Witch of the Black Forest. I would use more production's effect, targeting the witch, sending it away, chain link 1, chain link 2. So with more production we would draw. With witch's effect we'd win. It's not ideal for tournaments. I know that there's only a 15-minute time limit, but when you use Morphing Jar, if it's early enough in the match and you don't have a single piece of Exodia in your hand, that will speed up the process. There's obviously other ways to speed up the process, but at the end of the day, this is a very fun deck. I honestly have a lot of confidence going into a tournament with it, which I'm hoping to do this weekend on Sunday. And yeah. That's it for this video, though. I hope you guys enjoyed the video. If you did, please go ahead, drop a like and subscribe. Maybe leave a comment. I really don't throw that out there enough, but it's whatever. I don't update enough for it to really matter. But with my new job, I should be able to update or post videos rather a little bit more frequently. But we'll see how the next couple of months go. Till then, I will catch you guys in the next video. Let's just see how the next hand would look. Interesting. That would be a very, very fun hand to start with. But alright.